Well, last week I mentioned that I wanted to tackle the brake mechanism to activate the brakes on this sheep wagon this week, and that's what I hope to do. On the right rear of this wagon, there's an arm that comes up that activates this whole brake mechanism. So when it's all the way back, the brakes are off. All the way forward, the brakes are on. Well, there's going to be a steel rod that runs up to the front handle. So I'm going to just tie a piece of string here, kind of simulate where that iron rod needs to be. So it's going to come up underneath this box here, and that's about the highest point that it can be, is about right in there. So as I tie it off on this front standard, that's about as high as this rod can be, is about right there. So this brake assembly arm is going to come through this hole. So maximum height I can be, maybe 5.5 inches, but that hole where this is going to attach, highest it can be is about 4.5 inches. So this is a 1-inch hole. So I need about 4.5 inches sticking out. I'll draw this out, and I need to turn it up at about a 90 degree. So it's going to come through this whole assembly here about that far. So I need to thread this end. I've got a 5/8 nut. I'm going to turn that down, and I need a square shoulder in here. I'm going to punch the end of this here. This is 1.5 by 1/2. This will be my handle. I'll make that square so that'll grab on there to actually activate this, bring it out, draw it out, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the plan. This is one style of these brakes on the sheep wagons. Another style is to have a plate like this, but the pin come out with the nut on this side, and the brake handle attaches here and comes up. On a normal grain wagon, that's a pretty common style brake that would come out here. But because of this bench, it has to be a 2-piece handle, then oftentimes there is a door that is hinged here, and that handle can be taken off and the door closed when it's not in operation. But since this was the original iron that came off of this box initially, we know that this style comes through and the handle operates inside. So that's what we're going to make. You know, these brake ratchets are kind of an interesting part of this brake assembly, and I have looked at different styles, different makers over the years, and some of them obviously are made in the hometown blacksmith shop, and some are like this one that it looks to me like they are professionally stamped. They're very symmetrical, but they aren't cut out, they're stamped. You can just have that signature to them. And whenever I have to make one, I have always taken my grinder and I just grind the teeth in. But looking at this one, I thought, you know, maybe I should try stamping this out. So I made a couple of punches and thought I'd give it a go and just see how doable it is. You know, oftentimes many people ask me, well, how have you learned to do what you do? It's kind of like this. I wonder how it was done. I think I'll try this and see if it works. That's part of the learning process. Well, I can tell this stamping is not time efficient for me. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it the way I always do, grind them out, and I run them back through the forge and kind of doctor them up and make them look like they're stamped. But it was fun to try anyway. You know, I have a picture on a window of my office that gets a lot of attention when visitors come to see, like many of you do through the summertime, and it's kind of fun to have you stop by. But this picture grabs the attention on the difference between men and women. And 95 to 99% of the times, most couples say, yep, that's true for us. And I'm kind of that way myself. I'm kind of one direction focused. Well, you're going to find out here in the next 3 or 4 minutes that I was so focused with what I was doing, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the camera. And when I moved it after making this ratchet, evidently I put my big old thumbprint on the lens. So it's kind of hazy here for the next 3 or 4 minutes, and so I apologize for that. But I didn't even think about looking at the lens on the camera. I was focused on making this brake assembly. You know, for the most part here in Montana, we have a pretty low humidity level, oftentimes down in that teens area. We have spent some times where it's been in the 90s to 100% humidity, and I don't know how you folks do it. But I got these irons done and went home over the night and came back, and they're all rusted up. Well, we all know when you run iron through the sandblaster and just put that bare iron out to the moisture that it's going to rust. Actually, that's not what happened. You know, I'm putting my vinegar solution on all this, and this is how it turned out. Our brand new iron doesn't look so brand new anymore, huh? So now I can go ahead and get this installed. Well, since this is right in the doorway and it's fairly narrow right here, this is kind of tucked up pretty tight. Want to keep a pretty low profile not to inhibit this minimal door that we have here. Anyway, I think that'll work. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.